contingencies, as we're painfully well aware that it's prudent to expect and be prepared to address adversity, challenges, issues, problems, and, well, rain on the one day a year that we have a car show. We're focused. Number 3, we never try to be everything to everyone. We understand what we can and cannot accomplish. We're the best at what we elect to do and then deliver it. We allow others to address the issues for which they are better suited. Number 4, we have impressive leaders who possess the humility to know how to follow when appropriate, and the charismatic attitude and excessively brilliant aptitude which entices others to follow them. Number 5, we're in a constant state of improvement. Every new president challenges himself to be the best there ever was, and the past presidents are there to assist make it happen. Every new board member challenges himself to be the best there ever was, and past board members are there to assist to make it happen. Every new car show chair challenges himself to be the best there ever was, and past chairs are there to assist make it happen. Number 6, no one here is ever in a position to go it alone. We never hesitate to lend a hand when it's needed. We always encourage, expect, facilitate everyone to work together. The 2002 car show organization chart consisted of 146 people. 146 people. That's the epitome of a well-oiled machine embracing teamwork. And number 7, we work smarter, not just harder, because we appreciate that brains beat brawn in both the short term and the long term. With an exception, when Roger Harwell makes me schlep around and set up most of the tables and chairs at the car show. We're a force of nature. We're a team, a world-class team. We're a family, a loud, beautiful, joyous, classy family.
All right, now we're getting ready for introduction of guests, but as Chris Dodge is making his way up here, I have a question to ask. You know how if a phone goes off, the member gets fined for their phone going off? Would there be a fine if a past president is like emailing while the inspiration is being said? And if so, could anybody tell me how much that fine might need to? Past President Mr. Lubinsky, I believe that I've got the proof on my phone when it came through. So now, Chris, introduction of guests.
I feel like Bruce Jacobs will be fined as well for using his phone to get the proof. It's going to be a profitable day here at the Tucson Rotary Club. But more importantly, we'd like to introduce our wonderful guest coming from all over the world, actually. So, fellow Rotarian and from all the way from Heidelberg, Germany. Please stand up when I say your name, too, so we can wave and say hello to you. Say hello to Joshua Luckow. Hi, Joshua. Welcome. And from the Grand Monadnock RC New Hampshire Club. And I probably said that wrong, so I apologize. Say hello to Rick McMillan. Hi, Rick. There you are. Thank you. Welcome here. Guest of Brittany Battle. Say hello to Luke Smith. Hello. Hey, Luke. You're over there. Hi, Luke. And guest of Wayne Wood. Say hello to Dana Wood. Hi, Dana. Hi, Dana. And guest of Steve Christie. Say hello to Beth Borazin. Hi, Beth. And guest of Tom Moulton. Say hello to Misha Burrows. She's over there. Hi, Misha. Guest of Mike Schulte. Say hello to Buzz Dempsey. Hey, Buzz. Guest of Dan Calm. Say hello to Bill Spagnola. Hi, Bill. And scholar student, guest of Roger Harwell. Say hello to Dominic Smith. Hi, Dominic. And also guest of Roger Harwell and Steve Ochoa, it is our great honor to welcome this year's Tucson Rodeo Parade Grand Marshal and internationally renowned motivational speaker, Jessica Cox, and her husband, Patrick Chamberlain. Welcome. It's like a little goal of mine to hope that someday the Tucson Rodeo Parade will be an answer in the New York Times crossword puzzle as the largest non-mechanized parade in the world. So, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. And now moving on to our program, if I could have Nina Trasoff come up to take care of the introduction of our speaker today. Nina, as you know, with consulting services, Nina Trasoff and Associates, Indiana University. Nina.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the pleasure of introducing a friend. She also happens to be our county attorney, but she was a friend long before that. And when she decided to throw her hat in the ring after I told her she was crazy and asked her why, I knew the answer. She has such a passion for the law, for doing what's right, for honesty, for integrity. And I couldn't think of anybody else I could want more in that position who can look at the overview of what's happening in our community, look at the strengths, and also acknowledge the weaknesses and work with her team to find solutions. She also has possibly the most adorable, except for my grandchildren, little boy, and her husband's not so bad either. But they're just really good people. I met her when I ran for council eons ago, and the friendship has remained and strengthened. So I think you'll find what she has to say of interest. I hope you will, and that you'll think of some good questions for her. But my friend and our Pima County attorney, Laura Conover.
Oh no, never let anyone you love introduce you. Because then you're a wreck. Good afternoon. Muy buenas tardes. I went outside and tried to catch everyone, but if you can hear me, please, to all the staff, please know that we thank you so much for bringing us this delicious food, and if you could tell the kitchen that as well. We all, every single one of us wants to send our best. My name is Laura, and I have the distinct honor of getting to work at the Pima County Attorney's Office. We've been calling it the People's Office the last 2 years. I can't take credit for that, but I do enjoy the name. And I feel like this room will appreciate this from yesterday, because I'm such a desert rat, and I feel like everyone here knows what that means. So my whole life here, I never really celebrated Valentine's Day because it conflicted with Arizona's birthday. So I always celebrated Arizona's birthday. I would even bring like cakes to class, like birthday cakes, not Valentine's cakes. So yesterday she turned 111. And so, of course, I had to tweet out the flag. And then by the afternoon, I was thinking, this wind is awful. Is she complaining about her age? Because she's a baby compared to the rest. And then I feel like she just decided to throw herself a huge party and let it snow overnight, which is so happy birthday, Arizona. So it's been a boring time these last 2 years. No, okay. Yeah. No, I have nothing to report on. Other than a few minor things. And I am, there it is. Thank you, Bruce. And I need to point that way, right? To also Bruce. Thank you so much. I'd like to share some things with you. We are now producing a report at the start of each year with as much data information as we can, looking back at the year past, and I want to share that with you. I think that when we arrived in January of 2021, there were sort of three overarching demands that we felt by our 1.1 million bosses in Pima County. And they can be loud. Am I right, Supervisor Christie? 1.1 million bosses. For the county attorney's office, they wanted us to modernize the agency as much as we could. They wanted us to reform and reframe policies to put the taxpayer dollar to smarter use when we were coming into the most expensive system we could possibly have. And for sure, they wanted us to be extremely accessible. The office and myself and the data, and I couldn't agree more. It is the taxpayer dollar, and it is the people's data, as we would say. And so, to that end, this is the first presentation, I think, of the report. And I'm really also honored to be here today by C.T. Revere and Tony Gallego, who are part of the team that helps produce this kind of information for the public. It started out with a letter from me, and I want to highlight that I think there's one of these booklets on each table. It's, of course, online. We only produced a few paper copies, but it's on our website, of course, because we want everybody to have access to this. And it goes into much more depth. Like, all of the reports are kind of hyperlinked so that you can look at it for yourself. I'll highlight just a couple of things. Retention and recruitment is obviously huge. It is for everyone, right, in the Great Resignation. And so I'll definitely highlight the good news there, right? There's been a lot of bad news in the Great Resignation across the country. I've been fortunate. We had 14 attorneys who had left during previous administrations. 14 attorneys returned and joined us and brought 221 years of felony trial experience with them. Perfect timing. And very, very proud of it. I also want to say that the office was recognized as the Arizona Public Health Policymaker of the Year, which was shocking and wonderful, because we have certainly worked very, very hard, obviously through a pandemic and through other health crises, to better understand and better spend our money, that public safety is public health and public health is public safety. And I apparently that message is landing. By the numbers, just a couple. Again, I'll hit some of the highlights. All of those amazing felony trial attorneys are also producing wonderful outcomes. Just in 1 week in August, we had a record 7 jury trials go through, producing 7 convictions, successful trials, for example. But we do get frustrated, I'll tell you, in some of our dedicated work, right? When we open a file in the county attorney's office, harm has already happened, right? Harm has already happened to a person, to a family, to a neighborhood. So we're also doing a heck of a lot of prevention work, especially on nights and Saturdays. So I want you to also see that in just 1 year alone, we handed out 18,463 gun locks. And that's not just like a, I don't know, throw them out kind of thing. They're actually meaningful we've got it down to about 14 seconds, and they're really meaningful conversations about where you're making eye contact and you're saying, you might not need it, but you, because they're looking at it, right, already. But you've got, maybe a son or a grandson or a sister-in-law or a neighbor or somebody who could really use this, and you're going to give it as a gift, and you're going to maybe explain why. And because if we can prevent just one, we're doing something, especially in a situation where we had over 900 non-fatal shootings in the city of Tucson alone last year. There's also bad news. I'm so sorry. It's the news, not good news. I'm going to give it all to you. This is good news. Oh, I forgot my water. Bruce, can you reach the hand? Oh, sure. Of course, ice melts. Right, and then it spills. This is good news. I don't know how it worked in years past. I would never know. but what the three of us, I think, would want you to know is that myself, the chief, and the sheriff, we talk on the phone probably at least twice a week, one-on-one, and then sometimes the three of us together, because we have to for public safety, and we enjoy it. And there are times when we disagree on things, I assure you, but we're really good about just putting it in a box. We put like the three or four things in a box, and then the other 55 things we agree on is really great for public safety. And so that's good. That's a good healthy thing. And again, thanks to CT and Tony in the back, we produced our first, in my house, our first public service announcement, our first PSA. It was on Arizona's Good Samaritan Law, which encourages people to call 911. Did I bump something, Bruce? Sorry. It encourages people to call 911 immediately, make the call. When an overdose is happening, every second counts. And Narcan is just a little nasal spray, and I haven't said this. The national attorneys say it's a miracle drug. It's incredible to watch someone who looks like life is lost and then recharges. And so to that extent, too, my office is now actually a Narcan distributor officially recognized by the Pima County Health Department. I mean, we're right on stone. And I'm just going to keep talking.
Seconds matter when an overdose is happening.
Call 911 the moment you think you are witnessing a person overdosing on drugs.
Because of Arizona's Good Samaritan Law, you won't be prosecuted for personal possession or paraphernalia. Make the call.
If you have Narcan, use it right away. Open the package, take the nozzle, put it in either nostril, and press the plunger firmly. Narcan will do no harm.
And remember, when you call 911 for help, you won't be arrested or prosecuted for possession of drugs or paraphernalia. Arizona's Good Samaritan Law protects you. Quick action can save a life. Waiting can be fatal. Make the call.
Because every second counts.
Make Narcan a part of your home first aid kit. You can get Narcan at any number of distribution locations listed at pimahelpline.org.
Make the call.
Make the call.
Make the call.
Make the call, because every second counts.
I didn't know we were going to do that. I'm so impressed. Thank you, Bruce. I had no idea. That was amazing. And while we paused, I remembered something to tell you. I'm just going to talk for a couple more minutes and blow through this, hopefully, because what we want to do is have plenty of time for Q&A. And I assure you, you really can ask me anything. Ask me anything. As Nina says, when you make the poor life choice to become a candidate for office, you will be asked anything. So feel free. You likely probably have never seen that PSA because, of course, right, you want to go smart. And so it's like on YouTube and on the TikTok and what the other kids say, I don't know, Snapchatting or something. And then also it's really importantly, it's in behavioral health care centers. It's hanging there's posters. It's hanging at the jail. It's all, of course, all bilingual. It's at bus stops. And it's inside every single bus in town, so that the message gets out. The Yaqui tribe will tell you that they think it's a nation's first. We signed a landmark intergovernmental agreement so that I could specially deputize, at their request, 2 prosecutors to be embedded in our office so that we can serve Yaqui victims better, always searching to do better and to do more. And then that should be coming through maybe within the next month with the Autumn Nation as well. And it's being used now nationally as a model to better serve our tribal brothers and sisters. Reproductive health hit squarely at us because, of course, why shouldn't we have to tackle everything? In this new administration, a 1973 injunction that listed me still as a party. I wasn't alive, but I'm in the position now, and it was a statewide injunction, and it meant that it would affect reproductive health care for the entire state, and it did, and it has. modernizing the office, as we mentioned, we were still paper. That's the 15th floor of the entire legal services building. That is the most expensive filing cabinet ever. Because we were still on paper files, and then don't even start to think about, ink toner and printer management and all of that. So as of last month, we finally pulled that Band-Aid off. We have gone to an electronic case management system. We've joined well over half of the state and half of the nation on the same systems, and which is also a huge public safety measure as well. We don't want people moving around jurisdictions and causing harm in different communities, and we don't know because we're not talking to each other. Last year's report really focused on the criminal division. This year's report is more heavily on the civil division. We talk a lot about the homicide and domestic violence spike, and that's because, of course, we must and do on the criminal side, but it's also on the civil side as well. Remembering that we're not a district attorney, we're a county attorney, so we also have this massive civil law firm in the office as well. The health law unit saw an average of 306 petitions for court-ordered mental health evaluations each month in 2022. That spike is much higher than the spikes over on the criminal side, and they are having incredible success at protecting the most vulnerable in the community and those around them, right? Families, neighborhoods, again. The business and transaction unit partners and to make sure that we're providing good legal advice and bringing in good, high quality jobs. The tort unit protects the county, and I want to highlight as well. Land use had another big win. A neighborhood was at risk of losing access to utilities, and we defended the county's ability to provide utilities and won. So that was great. That was a relief. We also provide public safety support as well. We do a lot of training. I'm hoping we're going to start doing more cross-training together of prosecutors and law enforcement. That's a goal of ours. But in the meantime, we do as much training and teaching as we can, and that includes myself. 3 times a year, I teach at the crisis intervention training, which is the mental health first aid for all law enforcement. As you can imagine, elections and public records were extremely busy this year, and I think I'm going to leave that there. We can guess. Homicides went down, thank heavens, from the previous year. It did finish out down. But in my shop, we're not going to see the relief from that for some time. When we came in January of 21, we had 144 open homicides dating back to 2017. That meant families had been waiting for justice since 2017. We had to take what's called the homicide panel up to every single Monday, where that means that we're prepping 4 or 5 cases, we're reading all the reports all morning, and then there are very formal presentations to the most senior bureau chiefs in the office all afternoon. We do it every Monday. We got through 126 presentations last year, so we just went down to like now 3 Mondays out of 4 to try to take care of their health, our own people's health, which is really, really important. Again, requests from the community, treating children as children. There was a long-time firm belief that if we shipped kids downtown and tried them as adults, we would get better outcomes. We've learned over time that shipping kids to adult prisons is the end, and then they come out in their 20s and things are far worse, not better. And so the graph speaks for itself. Learning never stops. We provide a lot of education internally to our own people and externally. We've got a high school enrichment program that goes over the summer. It's just so fantastic. Also, law clerks last summer, 5 of them came from Texas, 2 from California, 1 from the state of Washington, and 1 from Pennsylvania to live and work here in June. I said, why? But thank you so much for your help. Isn't that amazing? We've provided a lot of information to our business community, our small businesses, our employers, on the condition of our streets, on property crime. We provide a lot of education on how small businesses can help us prosecute at a higher level. I don't have authority to prosecute any misdemeanors in the city of Tucson, but when it rises to the felony level, we can and we will and we do at a high rate because those cases are high quality, and working with businesses has really, really helped that. I have a personal presence often with the Coalition Against Retail Theft. Hi, Alexa. Specialty courts, we are trying as much as possible to take limited resources and focus it on homicide and domestic violence on the criminal side, while moving mental health and substance use disorder back into the medical and behavioral health field, which is where it should be, where we get better outcomes, where we pay 1/3 of the cost, and that's who should be paying for it. And we've got people, just Nahadine Jabra right there is just an extraordinary leader over all of our specialty courts. We pick up a lot of trash. That's what we do on Saturday mornings. We absolutely love it. We partner with neighborhood associations. And delicately, we also bring in the law enforcement that are assigned to those particular neighborhoods, non-uniformed, low-key neighbors meeting officers, officers meeting neighbors. We play music, and of course, we have donuts at the end. I really want to save time for questions. So I think I should move through. But victim services, I call it the crown jewel. And then look, it's going to get even. So you see all of our professional advocates, right? I think we had over 4,500 calls for crisis victim services that we answered directly last year. And then it's going to get even sweeter, right here. Dogs. We still have 3 courthouse dogs. They're amazing. They're incredible. The way they help children who have to testify in trial. Don't get me started, then we're really going to get sentimental again. 88 Crime continues to shine. 88 Crime is also in our shop, and our detectives unit oversees that. Incredibly successful, especially with all of our bilingual outreach. We don't want people afraid to report crime. That's bad. When we have people who are afraid to report crime, it doesn't get reported. Law enforcement doesn't even know. I never see it, and we can't do anything about it. And 88 Crime is a beautiful, anonymous way to do that. And those are our contacts on how to make sure you can stay in touch with us. But I really want to move to questions.
Hi, Laura.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, I have Doug Lowell over here with the first question.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your service, and I think the whole club has a lot of respect for people that put themselves out there for that. As somebody who spends a fair amount of time on the local bike paths, I have been dismayed to see the changes that have to do with open use of drugs and selling of drugs, and I've been threatened once, so I've even had to modify some of my routes to stay away from particularly the area south of Tucson Mall, north of Tucson Mall on the Rito.
Yeah.
So I recognize this is almost an impossible problem, but I think that that's your job, so I'd love to hear a comment.
It is, and that subject of conversation, you can imagine, takes a lot of my attention, and it's what I'm talking about with the chief and the sheriff, right? With our small business communities, with the Metro Chamber, with this morning with the Tucson Hispanic Chamber. It's not going to be an easy fix. Frankly, I was quite concerned that we were going to see a massive uptick in the last 2 weeks because of the Super Bowl, because people will just be displaced. And that's definitely not a solution, right? Just move away from me, and if I don't have to see it, then that's better. That doesn't solve anything. We are working on encouraging everyone to continue to report. The situation has caused, understandably, frustration, and so people have stopped reporting. And that's not good. And it gets back to what I was just saying. We need you to continue to report because number of calls and number of reports drives budgets. Budgets are often based on calls for service. And we need to continue to show that none of us have the staff we need to truly answer this problem. The other thing that we have to know is that there are people coming in for 3 hours into the jail for low-level non-violent offenses, and then coming right back out in worse shape than they were in before, and returning right to where they came from. I am optimistic that for the first time in my life here in Tucson, I really think I'm seeing a city, county, metro collaboration on this at the highest levels because I'm in the meetings. They are happening. And we are looking at using what's called the annex, or some people call it the mission. It's the western building that you can see on the western side of the jail for bringing in wraparound services right there. So it's services, it's accountability, and that's in my shop when it finally gets to my shop. And I'm trying to be the best partner I can be. And we're going to make mistakes along the way. And we're going to learn from the mistakes as best we can. And we're going to continue to try to do the very best we can. This is my home. My 71-year-old mother lives in Midtown. My brother has devoted his entire career to exactly this. I think you all know he's mental health sergeant with TBD. We're deeply tuned in.
Laura, we have a question over here from Dan Calm. Thank you.
Hey, Laura. I work in insurance, and you guys do a great job prosecuting contractors or people that don't have contractors' licenses. But then it seems like afterwards, on the restitution side, the follow-up or the lack thereof is startling compared to the prosecution. What's going on to change that and make sure that those follow-ups are being done?
First of all, thank you. And I will send the thanks back. That is our new fraud unit that's trying to package those cases together, where you've got a contractor who does bad by a homeowner, and then another homeowner, and you got to combine it to get that felony level accountability. And it's the first fraud unit that the office has had in 20 years. On the back end, we have a rules problem. We have a court administrative problem on trying to administratively capture the money. We have been looking at to see if we can't maybe hook ourselves back in for a bit more of a what word can I delicately use? A prosecutorial way to go after the money, rather than simply like an administrative way, which is a very passive way coming out of the courthouse. I'd love to talk to you about that. Okay.
Dan Guerre.
Hi, Laura. Again, thank you for your service. Regarding the homeless, has the idea ever been floated where you put a camp outside of town and they get to live there in a tent, whatever, and we provide services to help them get back on their feet, but get them out of town and get them off the streets. They seem to be everywhere, and it's growing by the day.
I think every option along these lines has been discussed. What you hear about a big camp is, you hear a lot of things. They're not safe. None of the agencies want to try to police that. Because it can go bad fast, because then bad actors know where to go find really vulnerable people altogether, and so that's very bad. The other problem with a big camp is that no district or ward, I mean, who's gonna, which district or ward is gonna say that? I volunteer. So what has been floated are small ones. In the meantime, there is a strong push that says if we need people to get off meth, if we need people to get off fentanyl, whatever that is, and it's such a high percentage where there's a mental illness going on too, that is very hard to do in a park or under a tent. We have a way higher success rate if we can get a roof over their head. I hope that answers some of the questions, but it's all being discussed. And again, I mean, I'll just say it. It's County Administrator Lesher. It's the mayor. It's the chief. It's the sheriff talking to each other at the highest levels about these very problems.
We have time for one more question. Jim Murphy.
I imagine other than your family, in your early years, you were developing your values and your approach to life and work, and I wondered where you went to high school.
I got to go to high school with your daughter. I know. Who is an amazing woman. So I went to Sal Point. proudly. Yes. Guilty's charged. As far as we know, I think my little boy is 6th generation Irish Catholic grammar school, like going all the way back, deep to the mother country. And she pulled off Sal Point in a different era entirely as a single mom. She is our absolute hero. So that's a lovely. She just turned 71 a couple weeks ago, and everything that my brother and I have accomplished, we would both say is absolutely to her full and complete credit. On that note.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Bruce.
Laura, thank you. Do you think you might be able to stay around for a few minutes after in case? So if people have questions, also just to let our guests know is we normally pick out a book that we have our speakers go ahead and sign, and we put it into the Make Way for Books library, and the one this time is Career as a Lawyer for Kids. So Laura's going to go ahead and sign that. Thank you. Okay, well, I need to thank Tim Putney because he was supposed to be here for his birthday today, so
he
basically,
is here.
oh,
He's
Mr.
right there.
Putney, why are you not up here? You've got your cake, and you can eat it too. You were late, but you know what is we can bring a mic to him. Is looked on his profile and it says Building Systems U of A, but he's going to have to walk up here anyway, because what I did want to do is recognize that Tim Putney, as you know I've done the last two, is our 3rd most tenured member of this Rotary Club. And so Tim, I have a little token of our appreciation for you, but go right ahead with the mic.
There you go.
Well, that's amazing. I knew I'd been around a while, but I think it's fun that you're recognizing some of your senior leaders. And anyway, this club really got going again when women got involved, and it's mighty good.
Thank you, Tim. So his
Happy birthday.
Start date was November 1st of 1974. So. We have a Paul Harris presentation, so Charlotte is coming on up to take care of our next recipients. Charlotte.
Today we come closer to a world of peace and understanding through the presentation of Paul Harris Fellows to 2 of our members, Don Rieger and Wayne Wood. Don is an Arizona CPA whose career in public accounting spanned 30 years, of which nearly 20 were spent on overseas assignments in Belgium, France, Germany, and Singapore. In his last assignment, he led the Asian Pacific region of Deloitte's global employee service business with nearly 1,000 staff located in 15 countries. Don and his wife, Mallory, rewired and came back to Arizona in 2016. As a retired Deloitte partner, he continues work as a consultant for Arizona State and Deloitte University, among others. He's a National Association of Corporate Directors Fellow and serves on nonprofit boards for Boy Scouting in Asia and Southern Arizona, and is a trustee of the Arizona Theater Company. Don joined the Midland, Michigan Rotary Club in 2005 after returning from Europe with his family. While getting to know his new hometown was important, service and the international aspect of Rotary are why he continues to enjoy his membership. Rotary International Youth Exchange had a big impact on his family, as his 3 sons were joined by Rotary Exchange brothers, Thilo from Germany and Tony from Taiwan. 15 years later, the Riegers continue those relationships and recently attended Thilo's wedding in Germany's Black Forest. Another major aspect of Rotary of the Rieger family is the Rotary Club International's primary cause. What, you're looking at me? What did I do? Okay. The global eradication of polio. Their initial and subsequent donations to the Paul Harris Fellowship are in memory of his brother-in-law, Steve Tracy, who died prematurely with post-polio syndrome. Don shares, quote, "This Paul Harris Fellow is dedicated to the memory of my sister Maureen and her husband Steve to help continue the fight against the lifetime impact of polio. Steve contracted polio at the age of 5, yet never let his limitations stop him from doing anything," unquote. Don, thank you for your continued support of our Rotary International Foundation, and congratulations on your Paul Harris Fellow. Wayne Wood was born and raised in Arizona. His grandfather came to Arizona by covered wagon in 1909 and became the director of the University of Arizona Agricultural Experimental Station in Maricopa County. Wayne's father graduated from the University of Arizona, was also in agricultural business, and was a member of the Rotary Club of Mesa, Arizona in the 60s and 70s. As a young man, Wayne drove John Deere tractors and combines on his father's farm. Wayne attended the University of Arizona before entering medical school at the Oregon Health Science University in Portland, Oregon. He met and married his wife, Dana, a nursing student. He completed his orthopedic surgery training at Harbor UCLA Medical Center in Southern California. In 1978, he returned to Tucson to begin a 40-year career in orthopedic surgery. He was the founding member of the Southern Arizona Orthopedic Group. During his career, he was active in the Tucson medical community, serving as chairman of the Department of Surgery at St. Joseph's Hospital and El Dorado Medical Center, and was chief of staff at El Dorado Medical Center. He was on the board of directors of the Pima County Medical Society, the Western Orthopedic Association, and the Arizona Orthopedic Association. During his medical career, he did 2 volunteer medical mission trips to Kenya, East Africa, and 8 medical mission trips to Mexico. He has continued to serve at the Children's Clinic in Nogales, Arizona, caring for children from Mexico with skeletal deformities. Since retiring in 2017, Wayne has remained active serving with various Tucson organizations. This includes the Pima Council on Aging, the Galileo Circle at the U of A College of Science, Desert Christian Schools, the Medical Reserve Corps of Southern Arizona, El Camino Church, the Foothills Forum, and the Sigma Phi Epsilon Educational Foundation. Wayne has been married to his wife, Dana, for nearly 52 years. They have 3 children and 6 grandchildren. When asked why he supports Rotary International programs, Wayne shares, quote, "For their focus on improving educational opportunities and providing health care for underserved areas of the world." Congratulations, Wayne, on your Paul Harris Fellow, and thank you for your continued support of our Rotary Foundation. But just a moment. We have some gifts are little of no value. As you share in your personal bios, you both like to travel, and it's known that people save money for a year or more to vacation in Southern Arizona. Yes, right here in our own backyard. So in that regard, we have Tucson Travel magazines, a recent article about places to see and to entertain you in your special Valentine. While you study these materials, we have Valentine chocolate kisses for you to enjoy. So please join me in congratulating our latest Paul Harris Fellow. Thanks, Bruce.
Chris is coming on up to take care of the raffle. You guys don't have to worry about your tickets. As he said, not only did I have the winning ticket, but he's going to draw the King of Clubs also. So
It's all going to happen, right? Laura, I need you to draw the winning ticket. And I promised like 8 or 9 people, aside from Bruce, that they would win today. So if you could draw a ticket that has... No pressure. You're allowed to gamble, right? The cameras aren't rolling anymore. It's not live on Facebook or anything, so we're good. You didn't risk anything. All right. Wait, don't read it yet. Let's build suspense. The King of Clubs still here. There's 18 cards left. We may choose a winner at some point during Bruce's presidency. We have close to that number of things left. All right, so here we go. Put it right there, so you know where it is. And I'm going to shuffle and screw that up. Someone's like, jeans, it's a heart. I know it is. I saw red. What's the number, Laura?
331-303.
331.
Oh, Chris.
303. Whoa! Don, congratulations. Yeah. You need to verify. We have a lawyer in the house. Oh my God, we need verification here. It's the 6 of diamonds. But I have $81 that I'm going to give Don regardless. All right, back to you.
All right, we have a number of announcements that I will try and get through quickly, but I'm going to add one to it, and that is later this afternoon I'll be sending out an email. There'll be a link to it to the survey. I do want to thank Gary Hirsch and other members that helped me as far as putting together that survey. So the window will be open for 2 weeks. All you do, click on it. It'll take you about 2 minutes, maybe 3, and look forward to getting everyone's participation from the club on that. So a quick update on Miles for Memories is, again, I appreciate the support I've gotten from people. I had my worst month in January. I only did 175 miles, which was 5.7 a day. So I still beat my goal, but when you're on skis for 2 days in a row, you get no mileage. And when you're underwater for 2 days in a row, you get no mileage. So
you want us to feel sorry for you?
Well, what can I say?
I went on a skiing trip.
Yep.
I went scuba.
Yep. Next week, so we missed the Wild, Weird, Wacky Wednesdays in December, so we didn't get to do our ugly sweaters. January, God knows where that blew by. But it is rodeo time, so next week, everybody wear your best rodeo garb. Next, the Rito River cleanup is, if you'll pull that up, I had mentioned at the assembly about, with challenges, there's opportunities. And, when it came to COVID, we didn't find a lot of great opportunities, but is pre-COVID, probably 90% of the people in our club didn't know what a QR code was, let alone how to open it. So I encourage you, I would love to get some participation from the club. We have 10 clubs that are participating. The date is going to be on March 4th, based out of Brandy Fenton Park is what you want to sign up for. These posters are in the back, so if you go up and you take your camera and you focus on the QR code and then click, it will take you to where you can sign up. So please sign up. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I thought I'd add to it. At the assembly, somebody said, maybe we need to do service with social. So for those that sign up and want to do a little socializing afterwards, I will make sure that I lead that charge. Next is, I did want to make an announcement, unfortunately, Wes Wiggins, he had to resign from the board, not from the club, but just with the additional duties he's had to take on. He's got more states that he's dealing with. He's traveling more. He's got additional responsibilities. And he just felt, as far as handling membership, he just wasn't able to put the time in that is necessary for our club. So Margaret and I have had a number of conversations. Our board voted on this, is our new director to head up membership. who will also be an incoming board member as of July under Margaret's term, and that is Mitch Pizik. So Mitch, thank you so much for taking that over. As everybody knows, membership is critical to what we do. Next announcement is for those of you that are considering selling any car show sponsorships, is after this meeting, meet with Mitch. He's going to have a meeting on doing some tools and some training there. So, Jeannie Zeta, finally got to you.
All right. So the good news is, back on December 3rd, I shared with you our results from our bell ringing jaunt at 5 different locations. And the great news is, between that and what was sold online, or we got donations online, we brought them in $2,145.47, and we have the first prize among the nonprofits. We've regained our status as top of the nonprofits for raising money for Salvation Army. I thought that was pretty exciting. And then I have one other quick announcement to make that isn't up there, but I put these on the table because I really want to thank the Hoffmans for hosting Palaio from July 19th through December, and Faye Morris and Eric Smith have been hosting him since December 28th, and they will be through March. But we really need to find a third host family for Palaio Novoa Alvarez to stay at at Ironwood Ridge High School, which is in northern Oro Valley, through the school year, which ends May 18th. Ideally, it would be to find a family up on that place where he could be, but it means all of us reaching out, our networks, people maybe you don't live there, but maybe you have kids up there, or maybe you have friends there, or colleagues from work that are up there. We just really need to reach out and ask people if they would consider hosting an exchange student. He's a wonderful kid. He's doing well in school. He's on the tennis team. I don't know what else to add, especially other than this flyer. You could take it with you, or I sent it out in early February, and I would like to have less sleepless nights and know that he has a place to be. And at the end of school, he could be not in Ironwood Ridge. He could be in Catalina Foothills.
All right. And now we've got a Happy Jackson moment. Doug Lowell.
So at President Bruce's suggestion, I actually reserved this Happy Jackson to introduce a potential project for the club that I had been thinking about for some time. One of my things with Rotary, and it goes back 30 years, is suggesting projects. So this one has to do with, as opposed to creating more lawyers, we would be looking at junior high math literacy in order to create more STEM degree holders. This idea sort of grew out of my awareness through the College of Mines that actually they don't get as many applicants from Tucson as they'd like. And this is because most people don't think about taking math seriously in junior high or early in high school, and therefore being able to graduate with calculus as a high school student. This allows you to enter directly into an engineering college, or perhaps do hard sciences, wherein if you don't, it costs you a year, and there's attrition in that regard. So back to Catholic grammar schools, when my kids were at St. Cyril's, there was a very ambitious math teacher who gave outside class lessons to help the kids prepare for their placement tests to get into South Point, or some of them into UHS. Interestingly, one of those kids did another trial program like that at OMAS last year, my daughter. So we ran a little outside the class math helper program at OMAS with the moderate success. Participation's tough when you're going up against sports in the afternoon. So I'd like to suggest for our club that we enter into a junior high school math literacy program with Math Counts, which is an outside class enrichment program, and Flowing Wells Junior High is interested in being the next trial program. Partner in this, Vicky's going to explain what we could do next, briefly.
So the school's paying for the teacher and stuff, but for us, we can do our tax donation money. You can do private schools and you can do public school. It's $400 for a couple. It's $200 for an individual, and you basically get it back. It comes directly off of your taxes. So we could do that if you guys would give a check to us or that's made out to Flowing Wells School, and then we can have it be something that our Rotary Club gives to the school, and then we can hopefully get Wilbur and all kinds of kids involved in math at that school. We're also trying to get into several other schools so we can change the culture of Tucson. Thank
That's
you.
great. Doug, Vicki, thank you so much for bringing that forth. And we'll actually talk a little bit more about that, especially when we have the next club assembly. Right before Lee comes up to introduce our 2024 car show chairman, I missed the meeting that Margaret did a great job at, and Bobby handed over a big check, but we got some great publicity out of it. And if we can play that video, and then Lee, I'll turn it over to you.
The Rotary Club of Tucson is continuing to give back to the community. Pima J. Ted is the recipient of a $252,000 donation this month. The funds were raised during the 2022 Tucson Classics Car Show in October, featuring more than 400 classic cars and 20,000 attendees. Bobby Larson with the Rotary Club of Tucson says the money will benefit students in the healthcare field.
Our money went to their medical field because they're also training caregivers, CNAs, LNAs, as well as people that will go on into other parts of nursing as well as possible doctors through the U of A.
Larson says part of that money will also be going towards building a new facility on its campus. The most recent donation concludes a 3-year beneficiary term for JTED. The Rotary Club of Tucson has donated more than $710,000 to JTED during that 3-year span.
This isn't per se related to what my task is, but we can use the tax credit on the Rotary Vocational Fund, which is we've been doing for the past couple years. So it is an eligible entity to receive in Arizona. Sorry. Oh, she wanted to do first? Oh, go ahead, Laura. No.
Okay, I promised to stay, and I hate breaking promises, obviously. Remember how we were talking about city and county working together? I need to run in high heels to City Hall now, literally with the mayor and the county administrator, to talk about the issues that matter to all of us. True story. Inside baseball, you just heard it. But I don't want to break the promise. All you have to do is call the office and ask for Benny. That's it. Call the office and ask for Benny, and we'll have a phone call or a coffee or what have you, since I can't stay. Benny Gomez. Thank you so much for having me.
On to important, but not quite so exciting. We had the honor, a group of us, including presidents, past car show chairmen, to go through who we thought might be great car show chair for next year. The vote was taken, and Kim, can you bring me that folder? We've had it very securely kept in this envelope. Thank you, ma'am. And it's not unlike the old expression about Funkin' Wagnalls. Do some of you guys remember that? Kept on a porch. And we want to make sure that if the envelope fell out, no one would know what was in it. So we actually added some additional security. And the most important thing is this was misplaced briefly, but we did come up with the selected candidate. I would mention one thing to you. This gentleman always had an interest in automobiles, started very early in his life. Matter of fact, when he was almost an infant, he went on his first date. And he didn't have a car and he couldn't drive, so he called the mom called his neighbor. What advance is this? Which one advance is it? Which one? I don't get here very often. And this was his first date. In a car. Daryl didn't have a car, so, I'm sorry, that's the way I was going to introduce it to you. Daryl didn't have a car. So, we're getting there. So she picked him up, and from then on, he's been interested in cars. So I'd like to welcome Daryl Stewart as our new car chair show.
I know you're all standing and applauding because you weren't asked to do this job. I heard a little different spin on exactly how that selection process worked. Yes, a bunch of people got together. They had got 15 cards with names of people on it. There was alcohol involved. They weeded it down to the 5 best, threw the other 10 cards on the floor, took another hour, more alcohol, put the 5 best ones in order, set those aside, picked up the ones they had discarded, and put them in a hat and picked one out. That picture that is shown over there was my entry in the car show, the very first car show, 3 years before I became a member of this club. I spent $5,000 to get that car running so I could put it in the car show. I won a $500 prize. That's just typical of the capable business decision-making capabilities that your new car chairman will have. So, but relative to the mention of a well-oiled machine, I wouldn't be taking this job if I hadn't had the opportunity over the last few years to see how well this well-oiled machine works. So it's my pleasure to accept the opportunity to lead in 2024. Thanks.
Daryl, thank you. And, you know, I'll tell you the same thing that they told me when I accepted. Sucker. So I do want to thank the guests that came today, as well as all of our members that were able to turn out. If you don't regularly donate to the scholarship cups and you have a few dollars and might be able to throw it in, that would be appreciated. Also remember to return your badges in the back. Happy birthday, Tim, who is hiding in the back of the room. Wayne and Don, congratulations on your Paul Harris. Next week, we've got a great program. We've got Rear Admiral Brad Rosen from the United States Navy. It's Tucson Navy Week next week, and I know it's going to be a great program. So I would like to make a toast. And although she had to leave, I want to toast Laura for the work that she is doing as the Pima County Attorney in what at times I am sure is a thankless job, but one that she's willing to implement change. Her advocacy for all people's rights needs to be commended. Thanks to her service, hear, hear, we are adjourned.
Nice job. Good job. Thank you.
Oh, hey, Lee, do you need this? Yep. Hey, nice to see you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you were able to come by. And I'm glad you were able to golf the other day. How much longer will you be in town for?